Hey there, fellow marketing students. Professor Wolters here, and today we're here in Ljubljana, Slovenia at their Triple Bridge. And today we're going to talk about our actual buying centers in the B2B marketing world. Because in the business sense, you don't just have one person making a buying decision, you have multiple people making that buying decision. It could be a person seeing that there's a problem, another person that's got to make the decision to pay, there's another person that's got to go, pick it up, right? Someone's got to go down there and buy the product. And so what we're going to go through today is those individuals that are in a buying center in a B2B sense. And the thing is, you might see that I'm going to talk about a few different types of people, and in some sense it might be one person that does everything, or it might be 1,000 people that do these things. So it's something to take into account when you are thinking about this. Now, the first person we have to talk about is the user. That is the person that actually will use the actual product. So if I'm buying a new computer system for a university, well, it's all the students that are going to be using it, the faculty that's going to use it, the staff that's going to use those computer systems. Those are the users. So of course, we want to get their inputs. What do they need it to do? What does it have to do for them? Does it need to be backward integratable? Should it be forward integratable? What do we need to have with it? For example, I do, studies and all kinds of stuff, and my software works on PCs, not on Apple products. So I got to make sure I get that information in there, because we don't talk to the end users when we're making a buying decision. Well, are we really helping them? Because we might be buying the wrong thing that won't actually help them. So that's why you have the user come and help define what the problem is and what the solution should have in it, so you can make a better purchasing decision. Now, the next person that you might have in there is what we call the initiator. Now, a user using a product and then they see a problem and they note the problem, that means that they're now an initiator. The initiator is the person that sees the issue and says, hey, wait a minute, we got a problem here, something's going wrong. You do have those in the buying situation because someone has to recognize there is an issue. So there's the initiator person as well. And it could be the initiator sees a problem, or maybe they see the competition's doing something, or they hear about new technologies coming and say, could we integrate this GPS thing with our phones and a travel app, and so we can actually give people tours on their phone? So there's things you can look at it that way. Now, the next person we have in there is the influencer. And the influencer, obviously influences and maybe gives suggestions or has kind of a push of what's kind of important in certain issues. So for example, if I'm looking to buy basketball shoes for my kid, I want to check out Steph Curry and LeBron James. They're influencing my decisions because they're so important in this industry. So you got to look at that. But the thing is, those influencers are not necessarily within your business, so you have to take it with a grain of salt what they're really pitching. Because if LeBron tells me to buy Nike, well, he's getting paid by Nike, so that kind of might influence the influencer. So you do need to be careful with that. Next person I want to talk about is what's called a gatekeeper. And the gatekeeper is the person that kind of helps run the flow of information to the important people. Now, with the internet and email and stuff like that, the gatekeepers become kind of less of an issue. But if you're trying to get a hold of a publisher, like I want to get a Wolters World book published, but I can't get a meeting with the publisher because the secretary or the system won't let me do that, that's where a gatekeeper can actually hold back your business. So you got to see is, how do we make sure we get all the information to the important people? Then you have the decider. This is the person where the buck stops here. They're the ones that has the final say, the final yes or no. They're the one that has to say yes on the check, okay? They're the actual decider. So it doesn't matter if all my students say, well, Mark, all 650 of us have decided that you should give us an A. Well, I'm glad that you all want to get A's, but as the decider, it's not going to work that way, okay? Some of you will probably not get an A, so do have a heads up for that. I make the decision. It doesn't matter what you say. So you do have that as well, so you got to think about that too in the buying center. Who is that most important decider person? And then you have the actual buyer. That's the person that goes to the store and actually buys the product. Now think about it. Maybe your mom gave you money to go to the grocery store. She says, oh, go buy me a dozen eggs. She gave you the money for the eggs, and you go and you get the eggs, you go up to the front and you see the eggs are broken. Are you gonna pay for the eggs then? No, even though your mom said, buy those eggs, and you got the money for it, but hey, as the buyer, I see at the last moment, there's an issue there. And so the buyer has some power too, because they can say, look, this isn't what we really ordered. That's why you got to be careful with it. Make sure that everybody in the buying center is taken care of and we're realizing what they're doing. So then when we're trying to do our buying center, we're trying to make our business purchasing decisions, we also are dealing with all the right people, okay? So I hope this helps you kind of have an idea of the people involved in a B2B buying process, in this buying center, because it does get a lot more complicated because it can be one person or hundreds of people that are involved in this. And that's why time and how long it takes to make a decision in the business world can be relatively frustrating. So I hope this helps you know a bit more about the buying centers in the B2B sense. If you want to learn more, hit that subscribe button. We put out new marketing and business videos every week. And I'll say bye from here in beautiful Ljubljana, Slovenia. Also, if you go over to our Wolters World travel channel, we got videos on Ljubljana and Slovenia as well. Anyway, I'll say bye and good luck on your exam.